Hello and welcome from Create and Fly. Today I thought I'd do a little video that's a bit different to normal. Instead of being behind the camera, I thought I'd come this side. It's just easier just to kind of explain things face to face. Excuse my red forehead. Ever since lockdown, start of the year, kind of March, April time, I've noticed I've started to get a bit of a red rash here. And I think it is basically the fact that I've been washing my hands a million times a day with hand sanitizer and hand wash. And for some reason, I seem to be getting a bit of a red rash there. So I've got some cream on it. I've taken some antihistamine and hopefully that should sort it out. But very, very odd. But I just thought I'd let you know in case you were thinking, why has that guy got a red forehead? Has he got a suntan or has he... what is wrong with him? But anyway, that's what it is. So I just thought I'd basically run through a few things, what I've learned over the past, I think it's coming up to, must be 15 years or so of collecting model aircraft now. So I just wanted to kind of share a few things that I've learned that can hopefully help those that are new in the hobby, or just if you just fancy listening to me waffling on, then that's brilliant. So let's start this list. Okay, point number one is an interesting one, and it involves money. Once you're in this hobby, you kind of lose the whole concept of money, the value of money. Models these days are generally more expensive than they were a few years ago, and they're gradually rising and rising and rising. But you know, let's just say a 1 to 400 model here in the UK, for a wide body, you could be looking at between 50, 60 pounds for that, which is fine. You know, that's what the cost is. We can't do anything about that. But if you see a model for sale on a website, or see it cheap on eBay for like £30, you think, oh, well, that's cheap. I'll grab that. But when you actually break it down, you think about it, £30 is still a lot of money for a bit of metal that cost a few dollars in the factory. So basically all of us are within this hobby, and we kind of lose the concept of money and what kind of, you know, £50, £60 for a 747 bit of metal. That's what we pay, but that's a lot of money. Just think what you could buy with that if you weren't in this hobby. If that makes sense. So it's kind of what I'm basically trying to say is we kind of lose the whole concept of money, and we'll pay what we pay to get the model we want. But when you actually step back from it and think about it, it is a lot of money for what it is. There's a lot of us out there. I've been the same. We've at one point we've got boxes and boxes and boxes stacked up in the cupboard. They just sat there gathering dust, and we've spent all that money on them. But what are they doing? They just sat there, they're doing nothing, which will lead me on to another point in a bit. But I just wanted to kind of, it's hard to explain, but I wanted to kind of grasp the concept that, you know, when you're in this hobby, money just kind of, you know, it's a weird thing. You can't think of the figures itself. We pay the money, and that's what it is. Point number two is keep your collection small. I know far too many people that have got boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that just sit in the cupboard doing nothing. And I kind of feel that keeping your collection smaller makes you appreciate the models more. I'm a you know, I hold my hands up and say I've done this before. I've still got models here that I've kind of think, do I keep them? But you know, some people buy them for an investment. I don't do that because, you know, at the end of the day, I've observed over the past few years that models that probably were rare are changing hands now for next to nothing on eBay, and you kind of think, well, you can never guarantee that this model you've got now will be worth a fortune in the future. You know, you can't put all these models as your pension because prices fluctuate up and down all the time, and that's why I don't bother. I buy models now just for my own enjoyment and because it fits in with what I'm doing. It's as simple as that. Keep it small, don't go too over the top, because you will end up with tons and tons of models that are doing nothing. And I just don't see the point of that. Where I am now, from where I used to be, Obviously, I started out in 1 to 500. I probably got up to about 100 or so in 1 to 500s. Then I switched to 1 to 400, and that got up to about 300 or 400 models. Then I went to 1 to 200. That never got beyond more than 20 really, because of just the cost of it alone. Then I went back to 1 to 400 again, a little bit of dabble with 1 to 500, and then I'm back on 1 to 400. So over the years I have seen models come and go a lot, and it's just heartbreaking to know that I've let go of some models that I really could do with now. Not that, you know, it's not a matter of life or death, I don't need it, but I would love some of those models to come back. I wish I could turn back the clock and have some of those models that I did get rid of back on this layout again. But hey, that's all part of this hobby, and actually it does make it fun that I've got to actually try and find these again. And slowly but surely I hopefully will. Just in addition to what I've just said, I've been thinking about this after I recorded it, and what I am actually saying is keep your collection small, but don't buy models for the sake of it. Don't buy a model because, oh, that's good, I'll have that, but when it has no real kind of connection with you, or it doesn't fit in with your fleet. There's far too many models that I used to have that were just, I bought them because it was the thing to buy, but in reality it just sits in the box, and you don't really need that one. My next point is further on in this video is that don't ever sell a model, but obviously if you don't ever sell a model but you keep on collecting, your collection will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that kind of contradicts what I'm saying here. But my point is, yes, your collection will get bigger, but don't buy a model for the sake of it just because it's a model. Point number 3 is try not to ever sell a model. Once you've got the model in your hands, try not to ever sell it, because you will regret it one day. I've had, well, there was an instance last year where I needed the money. You know, fair enough, it was to pay for bills, so those things are obviously more important than anything. But I had to really sell some of my models that I didn't really want to sell. One of them in particular was a Phoenix WestJet in the Disney livery. It was 737-800 in the Disney livery, and it was like gold dust back then, and it's still gold dust now, and it's one of those models that I don't think I'll ever find again unless I paid stupid money for it. And it's I kind of regret that I sold that, but at the time I had to sell it. But now I'm in a different position. I kind of know that the models that I've got now, I can't sell them because I will regret it further down the line. You know, I'm looking at NG's releases at the moment. They're kind of bringing out lots of models that I never thought would ever come out, like Sunwing and various different other ones that, what was it, the other one? The other Canadian one, Swoop, and you know, they're kind of willing to do models that none of the manufacturers are doing. So I probably, if I asked NG, because I know one of my friends, Lyndon, he actually did request the Swoop model and they did make it. So if I did request them to do the WestJet Disney, they probably would consider it, which is another great thing about NG models. They do listen to their customers. So let's just see what happens with that. But that was very heartbreaking. But my point now is, this is more of a personal thing, is don't sell models because you will regret it. Going back to that point about the WestJet Disney, I had a sudden thought after I filmed that bit that there is a chance, because of its Walt Disney licensed, they may have issues with that. I mean, not that anyone probably cares anyway. People are still banging out EasyJets and all sorts of airlines that they probably shouldn't be banging out. But people say they have licenses, whether they do or not, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, well, Phoenix released the Walt Disney, didn't they? So I don't know whether NG are a bit more risky, or whether they don't want to get involved with stuff like that. But I just wanted to kind of throw that in there as well. Number 4, this is actually a funny one, frustrating, but it is funny when you actually think about it. and that is wish lists. When a manufacturer, like Gemini, for example, they generally put out new release announcements middle of the month, and you know, others as well, Aero Classics, NG, whatever, and you will guarantee that the thread underneath that post would just be wish list, people saying, can I have this, what about this, what about this, please make this, please make this, please make this. And it just makes me laugh because you guarantee it's always going to be there, and the actual post itself has got nothing to do with the comments. It's quite funny to watch. I suppose, you know, that's the only place people can air their, you know, wish list, I suppose. But it's just funny to see every single time there is an announcement post, all the comments are nothing to do with the models they've released. It's brilliant. Number 5, GSE, or ground service equipment, and terminal buildings. There seems to be, from all the years I've been doing this, there is still a gap in that market. I know companies like Fantasy Wings are bringing out some nice stuff. My friend Wings 400, he did some air stairs and baggage carts and stuff like that, and it's brilliant to see that people are doing these things because there is such a gap in the market. And I know that if you invested a lot of money in molds for terminal buildings, you know, there could be plastic ones that you see for model railroads, model railway stuff. There's tons and tons of plastic kits. All it takes is for one person to come up with a really nice set of terminal buildings that you kind of build yourself, and you'd absolutely make a killing. I know there are, I think there's like, is it called Airport Network or something? And it's basically, they're starting to do that stuff. But I think to get to a mass market, if they can produce a load of this stuff, bring the price right down, then a lot of people would buy it. It would just sell really, really well. But it's just frustrating that, you know, it's such a massive gap in the market, that not one of the major leading manufacturers has actually gone and thought, right, we're going to invest a lot of money into that side of things. So the point I'm trying to make is, hopefully, you know, someone will see this and think, right, yeah, I know that there is a gap. Let's get cracking with the GSE and the terminal buildings, because a lot of them are focusing on the models. That's probably where the money is. But at the end of the day, collectors need all the accessories to go with it. Yes, I am aware that, you know, obviously Gemini jets do make a 1-400 terminal. They do make set of GSE. Herpa make GSE. But what I'm talking about is actual terminals that you can actually construct together yourself. I know Herpa do the cardboard ones as well, but I'm talking about just buildings that slot together to make whatever layout that you want. When the possibilities are endless, then GSC, the Gemini stuff's fine, but if it could be just a bit more realistic, if that was mass produced and bring the cost down on that, I think that would sell really, really well. I hope you enjoyed my little ramble there. Just a few little things that I wanted to share with you. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're already here, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Please leave comments down below about your thoughts and whether you agree or disagree with what I've said. That'd be fantastic. And don't forget to keep an eye on some more videos when I post them very, very soon.